everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Meredith, Alonso. I was out of town last week, so we're getting a little caught up this time around. The Americans, Season 4, Episodes 6 and 7, The Rat and Travel Agents, a.k.a. The Martha Saga.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, man.
She gets put through the ringer.
She does, and everything that I thought was going to happen didn't, and I'm kind of glad.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like what we thought, Pastor Tim was doomed. It was sort of like, okay, well, clearly at some point they're going to bump her off, but no.
I definitely have to say, though, I thought the stakes were higher because at some point I'm like, man, she's going to die. Nope, she's going to commit suicide. Nope, she's going to die. Nope, wow.
Yeah, she's going to get apprehended by the feds.
Yeah.
Nope. And you have to wonder, like, how many close calls like that happen in the world of espionage where, like, they were here, and if they'd been here, they would have seen, because the other thing is not just, about Martha getting captured. Martha, by the way, played by Allison Wright, who is so great on this show.
She really is.
She also turns up in Confirmation as Clarence Thomas's wife.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
And British, and of course, nailing the accent. Also, there's the threat, of course, in the second in Travel Agents, where if Stan shows up, he's going to see
Both
Elizabeth.
of them. Yeah.
And there was a lot of dancing around that with the sketches of Clark and stuff.
Though I have to say, first off, Stan at one point, and in the second episode in Travel Agents, he does say to everyone in the back at FBI offices, he says, "Well, we've had agents staking out the phone where she made the call at the park," and I'm like, well, if they were, did they not go see Philip there at any point? Did they not see Elizabeth? Did they not see Martha? Like, at any point, they could have seen people make phone calls, and I'm just like, they're kind of crappy FBI agents.
Well, and I think even Richard Thomas's character has been kind of like, they let my secretary marry a KGB agent.
I'd
say my career's pretty much over at this point.
And he's already been pulled off and put back on. Like,
Sure.
it's how many more chances is he going to get?
Yeah, I think but by the end of the season, he's either going to be teaching or writing novels.
Yeah. Well, but the threat for Martha was really upped, and I have to say, I finally started feeling for her. I've always kind of been
up until now?
Well, I've been very tepid about her, and I think,
Really?
there's just something to be said that I love Philip and Elizabeth's relationship so much, and it came to a point where I just felt that Martha was getting in the way of their story progression. But I've come to love and respect Philip's relationship with her, realizing, and I think, I almost feel like I've been experiencing it through Elizabeth's mindset. Like,
Sure.
I've been viewing the story through her, where it's been a little bit of like jealousy and unease, and then when you finally start to realize that Philip's whole motivation is not that he's like in love with Martha, but he loves her, he's protective of her, he cares about her.
Well, yeah. See, that's what I think has been so interesting about the character all along, is that that's the kind of character that a lesser show could have just sort of written off as a joke. Oh, this pathetic, lonely middle-aged woman, and she's so easy to seduce, and blah, blah, blah. But no, she is this genuinely complicated, interesting person who is lonely, who did kind of walk into this trap, But the show never, I don't think, really kind of judges her for that in a lot of ways. And I think that, ultimately, these episodes are also as much about Philip kind of having to parse out, all right, what exactly are my feelings for this woman? Why am I behaving this way? Because, I think, Elizabeth's realization that she knows what Philip's real face is, there's a lot of that's such a level of intimacy beyond like the work stuff that's so fascinating, that, it really registers why that's so much of a betrayal. But yeah, I think because she's been presented as such an interesting person and as someone with depth, we can't just sort of slough off now this danger that she's in and what's eventually going to happen to her.
And you also have to think about, Martha was there for Philip in a time that Elizabeth wasn't. She provided comfort and support when, like, Philip he wanted love from his wife and she wasn't available to him. And I think, that says something, and I think they all fit an emotional need for everyone, but I think ultimately, it worked out for Philip and Elizabeth, and I really hope in some way Martha does not get off on the way to Russia, and she finds a place there where she is honored and respected, like Philip told her she would be.
Yeah, that would be nice. I think the history there has always not been great. For example, I know when like the British spies relocated there, it was sort of like, there's something about even if the people were spying on your behalf, it's kind of like, you're a two-faced bastard.
Exactly.
Even though I benefited from it, so I'm not going to get too close.
And I'm a little worried because when Nina Light was sending the telegraph over, she was only talking about the rat.
That's true,
Tatiana,
yeah.
but let's just, for all intents and
Sure,
purposes,
yes.
she's Nina Light. And and the guy was like, was that all? And she paused for a moment. She's like, yes. Like, she's not mentioning the Martha situation.
Right.
She's just talking about the biochemical rat.
Although, yeah, I think for as on the nose metaphors go, having a rat be in all of this is kind of like, all right, show, calm
We get
down.
it.
We got it. What else is going on? It was interesting to see that Paige was so laid back about the beer.
That little scene, I was
Yeah.
kind of wondering where are the kids this whole time, but I loved when Paige came in and she's like, I'm not the cops. I'm not going to ID you. Hey, can I have one? And he's like, sure. It was so, like, I'm really liking this. Like, I want almost like a whole story just dedicated to, like, Paige, what are you doing? Where are you coming from? I love this. Also, if you know, she's getting nicer hair, so we know she's getting groomed for a bigger role. Because, you know, as everyone gets, like, more stardom, they get the better hairstyle.
Well, that's true, yeah, and they stop being period with the hair.
Exactly.
You know, like I love that all of Elizabeth's wigs are very 1982, but her actual hair is very up to date.
Yeah, it's not frizzy, it's slick.
It's kind of like how, like, as MASH went on, you know, like Hot Lips' hair became more and more 80s and less 50s.
Let's be honest, I remember my mom's hair from the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a great look for a lot of people, but, you know, that's why I respect movies that will sort of lean into it, even though they know it's a little ridiculous. We're like in the middle of the season, so it's you know, like, this is some major character stuff that's happening now. So I'm curious to see now where we go in terms of, obviously they'll resolve Martha one way or the other, and, you know, the Pastor Tim stuff is still sort of out there, but there's not like. There have been previous seasons where, you know, there's the who killed our friends who were spies story, or the you know, are they going to recruit Paige story? Like, they don't seem to have as giant an arc this time, and they're really letting it unfold more as a character piece, which the show is so good at doing, and they have earned that right at this point. So I like the idea that they don't necessarily have to feel as tethered to the notion of plot and, you know, this happens and spy stuff, and it could be more about their marriage, about their parent-child relationship, about, you know, the different relationships that are going on. Obviously, the stuff with Stan and his ex-wife, and how, you know, that relates to Philip, and, you know, so they've got a lot of options, I guess.
No, I've been enjoying this season a lot more than the previous one, because I just feel that The Americans at its heart is a show about relationships. There just happen to be spies and FBI agents involved, but what I love about the show is everyone's interconnectivity and how they handle it, and I love it, and that's what they're strong at, and it's succeeding very well.
Yeah.
But I'm sure in the next episode we'll have a big, giant plot twist that we have to resolve.
Shootout and a car chase. No, I
love that too.
Yeah, totally, yeah. But I've always said that I think the show in a lot of ways is about the immigrant experience.
Yeah.
And it's about parents being torn between wanting their kids to be just like them and wanting them to go full American and explore all the opportunities that the new world, you know, provides. So
it is interesting, though, that they push more for Paige to be more like them, and the son, they're like,
he cannot catch a break. He's at least, I think they're at least giving him a few subplotty things. This poor Henry. I hope. I'm waiting for his moment to actually have a thing to do on this show apart from play video games and talk about Epcot and drink a little beer. So we'll see how that goes. All right, we'll be back next time for more. Thanks for watching.